Hello, Planeswalkers! Tyler and Andrew here bringing you yet another Commander Countdown. This time around, we're going to be looking at our favorite lands to run in Commander. Being as wide and varied as the format is, we get to choose from a whole bunch of fun lands, so take this list with a grain of salt. We could go on for hours and hours on which lands we love to play, so this is by no means an exhaustive list. That being said, the original dual lands and command tower are removed from the running, if anything for the sake of diversity. I mean, who isn't playing those if they can? Anyways, let's move on to the countdown. Taking the number 5 spot on my list is an old favorite, Reliquary Tower. Capable of tapping for a colorless while also removing your hand size limit, this card's a bit of a controversial pick. Many players feel it's overrated, which I can understand, but I hate having to discard on anything other than my own terms. And putting the ability on a land eases the strain on the other spells in my deck. While admittedly, yes, it can feel bad when you need a source of colored mana and you instead get the tower, in a generally long-term game like Commander, I personally feel like the pros outweigh the cons. On top of that, as a primarily black and green player, I like to draw a lot of big spells and then hold on to said big spells for turns and turns on end before I eventually die from never being able to cast anything because my only mana source is the colorless Reliquary Tower. Which is openly mocking me by showing me what I could have cast if I had literally any other land. Anyways, unlimited hand size goes brrrr.
For number 5 on this list, I went with a simple answer, the Gain Lands. See, my experience with this game doesn't go back nearly as far as Tyler's, so many of my opinions of cards are based on the last 2 to 3 years of Magic's history. As such, my memories with these lands are pretty recent. I run the Gain Lands in my Yarok deck on Arena, and I have fond memories of going down to 1 or 2 life only to drop Yarok and gain some Gain Lands using Risen Reef, and getting a dozen life before dropping Agent of Treachery and getting my opponents to concede. Ah, those were the days. Taking a page out of Tyler's book and, well, cheating, I'm putting Thespian Stage and Dark Depths on here as my number 4 pick. This is a pretty famous combo that spits out a flying indestructible 20/20, but for the uninitiated, you drop both of these lands, pay to tap Thespian Stage and copy Dark Depths. You immediately have to choose one to sacrifice due to the legendary rule. Sacrifice the original with the ice counters on it, and then the copy will resolve with no ice counters on it and be sacrificed as well, leaving you with a 20/20 Merit Lage token. Slap a pair of Lightning Greaves on that thing and watch it go to work.
Number 4 on my list is a land that also taps for a colorless. Anyways, Kessig Wolfrun is a land that, unlike the Reliquary Tower, comes with a very powerful activated ability. By paying green, red, and X and tapping it, you can give target creature +X/+0 and trample until end of turn. With red and green being known for their powerful aggressive creatures, and death by commander damage being a very real way to die, sometimes all you need to knock someone out of the game is a near uncounterable way to pump your commander to an ungodly level of power before swinging in with reckless abandon. On top of that, if you use it on Ulrich of the Crowlin Horde, you should probably just win the game for flavor reasons. Granted, that would mean having to play Ulrich of the Crowlin Horde, so... Coming in at number 3 on my list is, yet again, a colorless land. I'm beginning to see why I have mana issues in Commander. Anyway, Rogue's Passage lets you either tap it for colorless, or pay for and tap it to make a target creature unblockable for a turn. As someone who currently owns a Mardu Voltron deck, a 5-color Dragon deck, a Dimir Infect deck, and a Temur Mutate deck, it's safe to say I like putting a lot of effort into one big creature. An easy land like Rogue's Passage is a perfect tool to make sure that my big scary idiot is capable of actually connecting, as opposed to getting chumped repeatedly by a particularly belligerent token. Sometimes the only way for a giant infectious frog spirit to claim someone's life is to force him through a very tiny hole.
I'm well known for playing mostly wide-range strategies, which is why Field of the Dead is my number 3 choice. Before it was banned in Standard, I played it with my Yarok the Desecrated deck on Arena, and would just pump out dozens of zombies each turn. It's no wonder why it was banned, even if it does make me sad that I can't run it anymore. Still, in a Yarok Commander deck, or any Lands Matter deck for that matter, it can still supplement your armies and keep you well defended with a wall of flesh. As far as fetch lands go, clearly the dual fetch lands from way back when are superior, since they just give you one of two types of basic lands untapped. That's why Fabled Passage is such a good budget option as well as my number 2 pick. Sure, you need to have at least 4 lands on the field, but as long as you do, the land it grabs enters untapped. It also lets you search for any basic you want. Plus, it costs only $10 at the time of recording, compared to the high prices of the old fetch lands.
Hey, finally a source of colored mana. Taking my number 2 slot is the black-green Shockland, Overgrown Tomb. Named Shocklands due to their ability to deal 2 damage to you if you want them to come in untapped, like the red spell Shock, this cycle of lands has 10 members, 1 for each 2-color pair, that also has the basic land types of the mana they produce. For Overgrown Tomb, that means it's a swamp forest, meaning any ramp spell that lets you search for a non-basic swamp and or forest is free to grab this for you. Acting basically as a budget variation of the original Bayou dual land, which was left off this list for creativity's sake, Overgrown Tomb stands as an excellent mana fixer at any point in the game. Need to cast a Soul Ring turn 1? You got 40 life. Go ahead and shock yourself now and have access to 2 of your colors come turn 2. Flooding out but still want to make your land drop? Play it tap and don't worry about it. I don't even have a joke here. I just think the Shocklands are in general really good for Commander, and this one happens to be in my 2 favorite colors. As I'm one to do, my number 1 slot is technically cheating since it's 2 cards, but it's in black so it's fine. That being said, it's 2 cards that are also always mentioned in the same breath as one another, and if you find one in a deck, chances are the other's going to be there too. Now, speaking of course about Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, and Cabal Coffers. While it technically doesn't tap for mana, Urborg does turn every land into a swamp in addition to its other types, including itself, so it grants itself the ability to tap for black. The Coffers also technically doesn't tap for a single mana on its own, instead letting you pay 2 and tap it to add black mana equal to how many swamps you control. But note that it isn't basic swamps, so having this, Urborg, and just 1 other land out will let you break even, while your 4th land and higher will net you more and more mana each time. It's a powerful combo, and the fact that it's in black mana warms my cold dead heart. Now if only the Coffers could get a reprint.
My top favorite land of all time is Lotus Field. The reasoning is simple enough. It has hexproof, and when it enters you sack 2 other lands, but it taps for 3 mana. In a Lands Matter deck you should have a way of getting those sacrificed lands back, so the downside of Lotus Field hurts less, and it taps for 3 whole mana. Combine this with Nyxel Bloom Ancient and tap a single land for 9 mana! Simply marvelous.
And there we have it, some of our favorite lands to play in Commander. Were there any that you were surprised to see? Were there any that you had expected to see? Were there any that you would have liked to see? Be sure to let us know down in the comment section below. And be sure to toss us a sub, hit that like button, and ring that little notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Later, Planeswalkers.